What's up, guys? Bill here. Welcome back to another SPY recap. There was a lot of stuff that happened today, a lot of great teaching moments, and things that we saw in the price action in SPY and QQQ today. So I'm going to go over four main talking points here and kind of walk through my thoughts on how I trade these things and why I'm looking out for them and stuff like that. So let's dive right in here. First, let's talk about dealing with chop zones, okay? There was three different periods on the chart today where we got really choppy and they look, a little different on different time frames. But let's say on the 15 here, there's this area, choppy zone. Then we break down a little and we start another one. Then we break down a little and we start another one. How do we deal with these when we start to notice that we're in a chop zone? To me, there's really only two ways to approach this. I'm going to focus on this level down here because this one lasted the longest. First option, you have some type of conviction, either long or short, and you want to get in with some time on your contracts to allow them to work. And you want to get in on the opposite side of where you want to see it go. So if we're in here in this chop zone, and I would say about halfway through, you start to be pretty confident, yeah, this is a chop zone, right? We've topped, bottom, topped, almost to the bottom again. Maybe you say, I want to go long here, okay? You want to try to get in as low into the chop zone as you can. So maybe you're drawing it, right? Something like this. If you want to go long and you start to realize, man, we're just chopping, we can't break out of here, but I want to go long, you're not buying up here. You're waiting. Maybe you buy here. Maybe you're even more patient and you're able to buy here or here. And you want to buy time on your contracts. Why? We don't know how long this consolidation is going to last. Let's pretend it wasn't even towards the end of the day. Let's pretend it was early in the day. It could last the whole day. You never know, right? So if you start playing 0DTs and stuff in conditions like this, even if you end up being right later for a move like that, you might still be red based on all the theta that you ate, or you might be so little green that it's not worth the headache and staring at the screen for 3 hours waiting for this to play out, okay? If you wanted to go short, obviously it wouldn't have been as great of a trade today, but you'd want to be looking at the top of the range, taking your position, okay? The second, and my ideal scenario, is you're waiting for the breakout, all right? You're not going to try to guess whether you have conviction or not, and whether there's other things that on the chart that are telling you maybe I should go long here, maybe I should go short, whether that's, different types of candle formations or volume, or maybe you're looking at flow. Just wait for the breakout or breakdown and then play the retest, okay? So you can see here, all this chop. We finally break out. And it's a nice little pop, but it sells off pretty quick and hard, right? Why? Back into this zone to retest. Here's where you look to take an entry long. We got the long breakout, so you're looking to go long, right? Buyer step in, wick up. Doji candle, okay? It looks like things are settling down. Buyers can take control here. We're in. Really smooth 4-candle move all the way up to previous day's closing price. Where we reject, right? Pretty volatile today. Not a ton of range, $4 a range, but, big legs and, candles here and there, big candles in each direction. The sell-off seemed a little bit more intense than the buybacks. But either way, some volatility in between these periods of chop, and then you get volatility. Chopping around volatility. That was just kind of the day. It wasn't super easy to trade if you came in, especially without a plan and you were a little impatient. In these chop zones, they'll eat you up with theta. And then if you start to chase moves like this, you'll get hit here and lose. You start chasing this up here instead of being in the zone, and you're getting slapped there. So it's definitely good to try to take a reacting approach and not a predicting approach, all right? So that's a great example of that. Another thing that we had going on today was we had some nice equal highs setups. So equal highs happen in a downtrend. And then you have their counterpart, equal lows, which would happen in an uptrend. And there are ways to try to tell if price is going to continue in the direction of the trend. So SPY today sells off right off the open, comes up, makes a lower high, makes a lower low. We have a trend now, right? A downtrend. We have lower highs, lower lows twice. And then we get up here and these two candles put in tops right next to each other. Equal highs. We actually get a third, and that's the one that dumps. Some people will call these tweezer tops. Okay? It's, you know, it's weird to call it a tweezer top because it's in a downtrend. It's not like we were in an uptrend and you get a tweezer top at the top, and that might be a reversal sign. These are equal highs. We're in a downtrend. Price is trying to push back up to maybe invalidate that, but it can't. And equal highs are put in, and you get, you know, almost 3 wicks there. This is a great sign that sellers are remaining in control. You see these equal highs in a downtrend, you can take an entry here. Boom, look at that. Really nice flush. And you guys know how much I like fibs. Look where the equal high hit. Right in the golden zone, just under the 618. And if you look on Qs, there's a similar vibe. Of course, you know, these move fairly similarly each day. 618 to the cent. Equal highs. Big dump. Okay? So look for these equal highs in downtrend moves. Like I said, they also help it happen in uptrend moves. And we could have something interesting brewing here tomorrow. Let's look at the hourly. Everybody kind of knows we're in a bit of a downtrend right now. You know, a micro downtrend, I guess you would call it. The macro is still up from October, but we're in a, you know, a micro downtrend on the hourly, on the 4 hour, but we're even in a smaller, newer trend up from the bottom here. See? Lower highs, higher highs, lower highs. Now, what do we have going on here on the hourly? On this pullback, trying to make a higher low, we have equal lows. Okay, so, you know, you could have seen these two candles on the hourly and played, and you had a little scalp there, sold off. But now there's 3 equal lows, basically, right here in this bullish imbalance from the previous day. And also this yellow level, the high from Friday of this leg, protected with equal lows. Let's see if this plays out tomorrow and this level holds and we get a nice move up. We're gonna need to try to make higher highs on this uptrend. It was trying to make higher highs over this level earlier today and sold off. It failed, right? But it hasn't made a lower low. And it had a lot of support down here, as we could see when we, you know, flip back to these smaller time frames and we watched today how much respect we got down at this level, okay? So that is equal highs and equal lows. I also want to talk about the imbalances. I posted an imbalance video Sunday. I don't know how many of you guys have seen it or not. And I kind of talked about like how I'm starting to use them more. I'm definitely, you know, new to it. It's not something I've been using for a year or anything like that. And I'm, you know, trying to constantly learn about them and adapt my style and use them as best as I can. Today, we had some nice imbalance candles on both SPY and QQQ. But I wasn't really able to play too many of them because I was kind of waiting for them to fill. And they kept going in about halfway and then continuing. So I may be adjusting my strategy a bit to play them when we get about halfway and maybe take a half size position. And if it continues in trend based on that halfway entry, I'll just manage my half size position. If it does end up filling, I'll go in full size, and that'll kind of split the difference between me being able to get in some more plays that I like and also, you know, still managing my risk and not, you know, not overextending myself and taking poor entries. But let's see, let's find some of these imbalance candles. Here's a good one, you know, kind of right off the bat on QQQ today. Or just SPY, sorry. I'm going to be switching back and forth between them a little bit. But we had this little imbalance, fair value gap, whatever you want to call it, bearish, obviously, based off this candle. And this one filled. I think I was watching Qs at the time, and it had a similar imbalance, but didn't fill. But there you go. This one actually filled. If I was playing SPY instead, watching SPY at that exact moment, then I would have took this entry, and it would have been a nice little trade, okay? What else? Let's see. There's a couple other good ones. Here's one that actually would have failed. Might as well show that. I mean, not every setup's always going to work, right? So here's your imbalance. Comes up. It's just testing it, and there's some chop around it. It's respecting it at first, and then big stick right through. So that would have been a fail. That would have been an example of a failed imbalance there. Let's see. What do we got? Some other ones. I really like to see, I like the candles to have a little bit of relative volume on them. This one wasn't too bad, and that one worked. Basically right away. So you would have had your imbalance right there and closed down here, and it wicked up, tested it, filled it, and then boom, flush. So, 2 out of 3 on those, not too bad. But I am going to start to look maybe entering in the middle of the zones. I think QQQ, it was a little more that way than SPY today. But just to kind of follow up on my imbalance video from the other day. We also have a really nice example on Qs of a VPA setup. All right, so volume price analysis. Here at the end of the day, this is that big chop zone. We break out, we retest, we rip up, we sell off, big time sell off, right? Look at the volume on the last candle compared to the huge sell off. So you get this massive move, 364.50 down to 362.70, a $2 move. And the volume on the last candle, which is the smallest of all the candles, is basically the entire volume of every other candle before it. Okay? That is an example of effort versus result. Your effort is your volume. Your result is your price or your candlestick, however you want to look at it. When I see something like this huge move, and then the most of the volume is down here on this little compression candle, that tells me that buyers are stepping in here. Now this can happen anywhere on the chart and pique my interest and maybe make me want to take an entry, at least for a scalp. But where does this happen? Low a day. Just below this huge chop zone that we spent hours in. Okay? I took calls as soon as this candle closed and got a nice run up into the end of the day. So that's a great volume price analysis example, effort versus result. You want your effort and result to match. If there's a big volume surge, you want to see a big candle, especially if it's in continuation of a move, right? We would have wanted to see, on that kind of volume, we probably would have wanted to see this imbalance fill. This is a leftover bullish imbalance from the previous day. All that volume, I want to see a push in here. I want to see a new low a day. It couldn't even do that. Okay, so that's at least a scalp. I'm going to go maybe smaller size, gets towards the end of the day. There's a lot of volatility in the last 15 minutes, but that's an automatic entry for me pretty much every time, guys. Okay. Other than that, using the fibs today a lot. There was different opportunities to play different legs of the fibs that like you guys know I like to do. But I really wanted to touch on those 4 unique and interesting and helpful bits of information, setups or, different types of analysis and things you are going to see in the market every day. They all happen today in this kind of wacky day with a lot of volatility and chop and just everything. They really threw it all at us today. So it's a great learning experience here, and hopefully we can use it going forward to make the most of our days. All right, guys, if you have any questions, just let me know. Either leave a comment or hit me up on Twitter or whatever, and I'll help you out.